thank you all. It's really great to see you here on this cold. We're back to winter, so we'll see how that goes. This is Sunday afternoon here. This has been a really kind of a whirlwind concert to put together, but it's one that's kind of very special to a lot of us in the ensemble. And this next piece by Randall Standridge is kind of like was kind of the start of this concert. And this if you read the program notes, just this really vulnerable piece from this composer Randall Standridge, who has been up and coming. Now he's pretty much famous at this point. But he was when he wrote this piece just a couple years ago, he was just kind of like on that cusp of really being famous. And why I like this piece, I think it's such an important composition, is because if you read the program notes, he's got some family history with mental health issues and mental illness, and and at the time that happened, that was something you just didn't talk about, and it's something that you kind of tried to just pretend that it didn't happen and just keep on going, and it was kind of seen as like a personal failing, and then through getting help, that was something that they began as a family to talk about and heal, and he has been going through a similar journey in his adult life. And not only does he talk about, but he wrote a piece of music based on this very personal part of his life. So he's kind of opening up and sharing this with you guys in a very personal way. Even though you may have never met and you might never meet him, this is something that's very much a part of this composer Randall Standridge's life, and I think that's kind of the nucleus of the concert here. So it's if you can kind of follow the journey through the piece, and there's kind of a little program to it, between things that are like beautiful, and then there's some what I call kind of like red flags as the music starts to develop a little bit, like little things like you can tell things are not quite right, and those things, if left unchecked, like in the music, they kind of build to a head and they kind of build to a crisis point. And then you can kind of hear the music as that is kind of worked through and developed to this kind of ending where things are not fixed, but they're accepted and they're understood and they're making progress, kind of thing. So you can kind of follow that journey. And this is a true life kind of little story that you can kind of follow through. So check out the program notes if you haven't, but follow through and kind of I hope this is kind of could be a start of a dialogue. Mental health is kind of a focus of our programming this spring semester, as odd as that may sound. We commissioned a work in 2018 that we're going to bring back in April. That was kind of about just like all this noise in our lives. It's called The Noise. It's a work that we commissioned and did the world premiere in 2018. And we're going to feature some of our vocal faculty on that one. So that's a little bit of a theme of our fall semester. Okay, so this is Unbroken by Randall Standridge. So one of the things that I've found in putting this concert together is that when the composers are so, I guess, vulnerable and brave to share like a very real part of themselves, musicians kind of respond and are able to share a little bit as well. So I think anytime you make a performance, you need to kind of have some personal connection. But when there's a personal story to it, I think that really helps. This next composer, David Maslanka, is someone that has is a very important part in my musical development and career. But just as a person, David had a very troubled life in the early part of his career, and then he moved away from everything out to Missoula, Montana, which, if you know the area, is just not much, not a lot of people. It's a lot of nature, and it's a lot of beauty of like expanse of like landscapes and mountains and nature. And that was David's life from like the bulk of his career. Then he did the middle and later part of his career just living in that isolation from humans. And one of the things that David did every morning as kind of a ritual was to play through Bach chorales. And these was not just an exercise, it was almost like an act of musical prayer that he used, almost like a devotion. He would do that, and he saw a connection to the divine through playing those chorales. And that was a very spiritual part of his music. And through much of his compositions, those chorales are woven in either on the surface or underneath, or sometimes both, like in this next piece. So it's a very, very personal thing that he shared with audiences. And one of the challenges in this piece, O Earth, O Stars, is that there's a lot of space and silence in this music that's woven, that's part of the music. The silence is much a part of the music and the space as the moving notes are. And that's tough. That's been tough for us and myself. We're not comfortable with that kind of space. We kind of want to fill it. You know, if you ask any teacher what happens when musicians are resting, often they rush through rests and they want to get to the next sounds, right? So that's been a kind of a challenge for us to kind of reach David's level of peace with just being in the moment. Also, another reason why this piece is so special, and I'm so honored to be where we are right now on stage sharing this music, is because we'd like to welcome a couple of our PSU faculty members to join us on this piece. This is a double concerto for flute and cello. So would you please help me welcome to the stage our flute and cello professor, Christina Webster and Masha Begacheva. Come on stage and join us. I'm so privileged and honored to be able to work with colleagues. All the music department is just such a tight-knit group, and we collaborate and we put music first, and it's a really cool thing. I don't think it's always the case everywhere, but it is the case here in Pittsburgh. So we're going to share a couple of these movements from this monumental work after a couple tuning notes here today. Can we get a isn't it cool to collaborate with world-class musicians in Pittsburg, Kansas, Southeast Kansas? Let's have another hand for our fantastic faculty. You know, it sounds like an advertisement. One of the cool things about being at Pitt State is being around just great artistry kind of makes me a better artist and musician, just being in proximity and working with that. So it's such a cool experience. Okay, so thank you again for coming out here. This is a very special concert to us. We hope to see you at all of our concerts this semester. As I said, on April 29th, it's a Tuesday. It's an unusual day of the week for us. We'll be giving our next concert where we'll be doing the second, we did the world premiere in 2018. We'll be doing the second performance of The Noise by Kimberly Osberg, featuring our PSU vocal faculty with our wind ensemble. It's a very cool work, very 21st century type of work. Not musically, well, yes, musically, but also just like the idea of like checking your iPhone and making sure your alarms are on and getting everything. It's kind of that kind of work. I'd also like to just thank my colleagues here at the Bicknell Family Center for the Arts, just making this a world-class, seamless production, just like always. We are happily spoiled to be able to work with them and in this facility every concert, and that's just a very special experience every single time. Okay, so this is our last piece, and this is I've used the word special probably a lot of times this concert. This is a very special piece too. All these are very special pieces, but this is a very cool work because it's by a composer that's here with us tonight, and that is one of us. Actually, it's one of them, not one of us. This is a student composition by Jude Wolf, and you might think student composition, it might be like an elementary, pretty basic exercise type of piece. No, this is the hardest piece on our program, for one. Two, this work came to me fully formed. It wasn't like, hey, Dr. Chybowski, I'm thinking of doing this work for band. What do you think? Okay, let's get started. No, it's like, here's a work. And it was on my desk one fateful day, and the rest is history. And this is, I think you could tell by the faces on the ensemble, like this is one of our favorite works of the concert. It's such a cool work. So to tell us a little bit more about this composition, I'd like to welcome someone whose name you should know. This is the starting point of a compositional career that will be a great thing. So please welcome to the stage Jude Wolf.
Hi there. Thank you for coming out today. My name is Jude Wolf. I composed the piece that you're about to hear. It's called Roan Mountain. First, I'd like to take a moment to thank Dr. John Ross. I don't know where he is. He's somewhere in here. There he is. That's my teacher. He spent all of last semester in our lessons 2 times a week just running through this piece and giving me different ideas and different things to improve. And without his tutelage, it just would not be possible. I want to thank him. I want to thank Dr. Andrew Chybowski and the ensemble behind me. They've been playing fantastically so far. I mean, it's just wonderful. And without their feedback and the amount of work that they put into this, it just would not work. I really appreciate them. And also, we have a special guest, Dr. Ramiro Miranda, who is our resident hillbilly today. He's going to be playing the mandolin for us. A little backstory on the piece. I myself am from the great state of Missouri, but I've got family on my father's side from East Tennessee, a little place called Johnson City. And 40 minutes east of there is a range called Roan Mountain. It's absolutely beautiful, a wonderful, serene place. Every time I get a chance to go out to East Tennessee, I just have to make a stop at Roan Mountain. It's beautiful. And in the summertime, the side of the mountain is covered in these just glorious rhododendron flowers, pink rhododendron flowers. If you ever get a chance to go there, please do. It's where my grandfather, David Wolf, was laid to rest a little over 20 years ago, and it's a place that means a lot to me. And when I was thinking of settings for a wind ensemble piece, Roan Mountain was just a no-brainer. I just had to do it. Each movement has a unique set of solos. It's just kind of the way it turned out, and I think it gives it a unique, intimate quality that you don't often see in band pieces. The first movement has a oboe solo and a vibraphone solo. The second movement has the mandolin solo. The third movement has a drum solo on orchestral toms. And the fourth movement has clarinet, trumpet, trombone, and bassoon, respectively. So I think that really gives it a nice quality. It gives a chance to make it a very intimate sound. I'm really appreciative of you guys coming out tonight. This is one of the most fantastic experiences in my life. I'm very proud of this work, and I'm very proud of this ensemble. And thank you very much.